Hello everyone, welcome to the round 18 roundup stream. Hope you're all doing well on this Thursday evening. Got the Dragons versus Sharks playing tonight. Obviously a big matchup for Supercoach with Hines, Mulatalo, Rinton Nikora, a couple of pods and Sione Katoa, etc. all being quite popular trade-ins for this week. So this tonight could make or break our weekend. It really probably depends on what happens with old Nico. So Who is ready? Who is ready for Supercoach? Great to see a lot of you already waiting in the stream. But yep, this will be. We've got about 50 minutes until lockout, so we'll go through your questions as many as we can, and hopefully help you guys out as best we can. Do give the stream a like. If not for me, give the stream a like for Nico Hines today and his hopefully 120 plus points. Hey, looking Schmick, thank you. What will you do? Gazaraki, I need dire help, man. Yeah, don't worry, we'll sort you out. So, anyway, I'll quickly spend the first couple of minutes just talking about my team and what I've done for this week, and we'll get onto your questions. So, I felt pretty comfortable with the trades this week, so in the end, I've decided not to go for Munster like I initially presented on Tuesday. I just think I need the round. I just need that. I want to go hard for round 19, just because I think I need to try to go up a little bit ahead in the ranks. So for me, I want to go hard on round 19. So I've already got like 16 players. If I went Munster, I would have 16 after my trade this week. If I went Munster, I would have been going a little bit less. And also, there's just that round 20 risk of Origin. You know, bringing Origin guys in, I guess there's always a risk potentially that they get injured in Origin, and all of a sudden then you're short for round 20. So I've gone Mulatalo in instead. So I've gone Schuster to Brendan Piakura. I think Piakura is going to be pretty good. I like him as a play this week as well. Dolphins' edges were pretty weak last week. He should be running at Isaiah Katoa. So I like him as a trade-in and a play this week for 80 minutes. Not expecting crazy things out of him. 40 points is probably about his floor, but he does have some attacking upside in him. And, I expect him and Schuster to score about the same for the rest of the season. So I'm thinking I can get about over 100k from that downgrade. And, I can have Piakura some good depth there. His job security is good, 6 to 8 weeks that Ricky's out for, so I like him. I don't even view him as necessarily a cash cow. Some guy I can bring in, play some depth, and I'll have him there for probably the rest of the season. And my other trade was now I didn't love it, but I did Sunia Turuva out for Mulatalo. The reason I didn't love it was that I don't think Turuva is a must sell by any means, because it's a tough matchup this week against Melbourne. He does miss out round 19, but then round 20, round 21, he's got the Dolphins and then the Bulldogs. Those are games that ideally I would have Turuva for, but I couldn't make the money work upgrading someone like a Billy Smith for him. So the way I saw it was that, look, Turuva's 530k now. He's actually made quite a lot of money. It's less than 100k to go from him to Mulatalo, who I do view as a season keeper. Will play, barring injury, the rest of the season, 10 games straight, no buys. And obviously has a great matchup this week. Hasn't scored below 50 except for round 1 for this entire season, so he is pretty consistent. Turuva does sometimes get that low score in him. He's got glue hands like Peachy and Tungo playing outside of him, or inside of him, I should say. So I've just made that switch of Turuva out for Mulatalo instead of going for Munster, because I just didn't think I probably needed to force in Munster for this week. Those trades give me about 100k in the bank. I think the plan will be next week. Because I've got 16 now for round 19, barring any injuries. Next week I'm pretty much viewing as just maybe doing only the one trade, and that one trade will probably be to downgrade someone like a Christian Welch to like enough just to create even more funds, because we've got some news that Cleary is looking like he'll be back in round 20 against the Dolphins, and also Fafita is someone I'm really targeting in round 20 as well. I just want to give myself that option where if I had to try get both of them in round 20, I can, and that's probably going to be facilitated by a money-making move next week. So I'll probably do Welch down to like enough. I can't remember what Welch's break even is. It's 34, so I suspect he won't get down in price. So Welch would be about 500k. If I went to a bottom dollar guy, that would create 300k. So I would have 400k in the bank, which should be enough to go from Preston to Fafita directly. But also, if I had to go SJ to Cleary in round 20, if I decide in round 20 I want to pull the trigger, go early on Cleary, I should be able to do those two moves. So that's probably the plan, I think, over the next couple of weeks. The Cleary move is definitely not locked in because SJ's been killing it, but I do just want to create that bank just so that I can pretty comfortably go Preston to Fafita in round 20 if I have to. But that's kind of it for trades for this week. I've got Nikora, Hines, and Mulatalo. Hines captain. I'm not even thinking about changing that, to be honest, because I will have an AE in... my worst AE will probably be Billy Smith or Harrison Edwards. So it's not a bad AE, so I could maybe chance it, but I'm just thinking Hines is the best captain option this week, in my opinion. So I'll go Hines captain. And I'm not 100% decided on my fourth reserve. So I've got Preston, SJ, and Ponga as 3 clear ones. The last one comes down to AJ, Christian Welch, or Reid Marnie. AJ, I'm thinking of benching just because I think the Warriors trip away is going to be quite tough. Apparently there's bad weather. Rabbitohs are coming off a short turnaround as well. So I'm thinking without Latrell, maybe AJ has another low game. Hopefully it doesn't hurt me. So I'm thinking of sitting AJ. And between Welch and Marnie is kind of where I'm thinking. Marnie does have the better matchup against the Knights at home. So he could probably be a little bit of, if I want to go a little bit higher, maybe in the 60 plus range. But Welch did smash out 72 last week. So I'm kind of toing and froing about that. I don't need to decide that until tomorrow night. But that's where I'm just thinking of a dilemma between my fourth reserve. But pretty much the rest of the team that I think is set. I will be playing Piakura this week. Playing Piakura over AJ, I just like the matchup. I think Piakura, I think Piakura has base of about 36, 38 to 40. So it's probably a little bit better than AJ, but I think he's got a better chance of attacking upside this week against the Dolphins. So I'm personally going Piakura over AJ yet. I think playing him, I feel like I would get burnt less than say AJ, because we know AJ can go maybe get those 20 point games, whereas Piakura, I don't feel like he'll get that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment for my team selection. Sorry, I haven't got to any of your questions yet, but we'll get to them just now. I've kind of gone through all my thoughts on my team. Guys, keep the questions coming in. I'll just try to grab them as many different questions as I can. What are my tips for this week? If you're interested in my tips, so I've gone Sharks, I've gone Warriors at home, I've gone Melbourne. Penrith is tough at the moment. I've actually got Melbourne. I've got the Raiders, I've got the Cowboys, I've got the Broncos, and I've got the Knights, and I've got Manly, I think. That's how I've tipped it for this week, but subject to change. But that's what I've got at the moment. Would I go AJ or Taruva to Mulatalo? I would go Taruva still. I've kind of, you can see based on my team what I did. I did Taruva out instead of AJ. I still think with AJ, I would still ideally hold him because he is a number in round 19 against the Bulldogs. I think it's a good matchup, and look, he has that potential with if Latrell comes back firing, that AJ can benefit on the back of that. Taruva, even when Penrith fully healthy, he sometimes still had those low games in him, and not necessarily his own fault. But yeah, I think for me, AJ is probably some number I'd be happier to hold on to for the time being. VC Hines, Cap for Feeder or Captain Hines? Really the question about captaincy, I think this week comes down to what's your AE situation, how many numbers do you have? If you've got a really terrible AE like a Sonny Luke, Franklin Pele, I just wouldn't risk going VC. I wouldn't risk going VC Hines. I'd just Captain Hines. If you've got a pretty decent auto emergency reserve, and let's say you've only got 18 players and you've got a good chance of a good loophole, I would take the chance because Hines is the most popular captain this week by far. I've tweeted earlier, I think he was on about 60% captaincy percentage in the top 1%, and it was about 56 in the top 5%. I'm actually just going to check now what that currently is. From memory, it had gone up a little bit, but yeah, he is the overwhelming captaincy shout. So if it's in a week where you can go VC Hines and it won't hurt you with the AE and you've got a relatively free crack at it, I don't mind that strategy, because if Hines goes really low, you can actually benefit out of that compared to everyone else who will just be stuck with his captain score. So just very quickly, in terms of captaincy percentage, in the top 1%, Hines is now at 65, so he's gone up 5%. In top 5%, he's gone up to 62. So he has gone up from when I pulled those numbers about 2 hours ago. Not even backing my chooks. I know it feels bad, but look, it's an away game to Manly, who are getting Jobo back. We've lost a couple of players as well, in no Angus, no Tupanua. Maybe I should have more faith in them, but no, I just don't like how that game looks. Kennedy or Drinky for the run home. So if you guys haven't seen, I put up my weekly newsletter article, if you want to call it that, yesterday. And to be honest, it was probably more comprehensive than I probably was intending to make it. I'll link it in the in the stream chat if anyone wants to have a read of it. It literally is a maximum 5-minute read, but I did a very comprehensive kind of fullback ranking breakdown. I have got Drinkwater above Will Kennedy for the run home, but that's purely just because of, I think, the way that he's been scoring this season isn't a fluke, and he's been doing well even when the Cowboys have had their ups and downs, and has scored well even in tough games, I should say. So I think Drinkwater just will. I think Drinkwater will outscore Kennedy on average. What I like about Kennedy is that he plays every game for the rest of the season. So I think for the short term and the fact that he covers round 19 and he's much cheaper, I prefer Drinkwater overall in terms of what the points he could get on average. But I think just for the price saving and the next few games and the round 19, I'd pick Kennedy. I like picking Kennedy, and then what you can do then is you can also eventually flip back potentially to Latrell if Latrell comes back fit. I can't decide between Katoa and Ramian. So again, this is from Isaac. I think this is a pretty popular question this week. Especially if you're already a Mulatalo owner. I didn't own Mulatalo, so for me he is the number one. So that's why I've gone him. Between Katoa and Ramian, I mean, for this week I think Katoa will be the better option. We saw shout out to SuperCoach Guns who posted his tri-map graphic, I guess you should call it, this week. It really highlights how weak the Dragons' left side defense is. And, obviously a bit inflated with, DWZ scoring 4 tries there last week. But looking at it, the Dragons have conceded, where is it here? Sorry, I'm looking at an old one. But in round 15, they had already conceded 11 to right wingers. Now that's up to 16. So they're already weak. So even looking at a sample that was not including DWZ, I think the winger will profit more. So I like Katoa. Katoa, just the only issue with Katoa is that he's got those lower scores in him. He did score like 8 a couple of weeks ago, I think. So he does have those low scores in him. Ramian doesn't. I would say that Katoa hasn't scored a ton yet this season. Ramian has. He has 120 back in round 4 against the Dragons, actually, funnily enough. So Ramian's averaging 52. I mean, it's a tough one because I feel like it's going to be a 50-50 call that you just know the one that you don't get is probably going to go well. My gut tells me that Katoa is the better option just because I think the wingers are just better in general. But look, Ramian is a bit of a glue hands. I think if I had to get one, it would be Katoa as a bit of a kind of chase the winger ceiling. But I think if you're looking for just maybe more of a consistent guy with a bit of a higher floor, because Ramian's got pretty good base. He's averaging, so like Katoa's base average is 21 this season. Ramian in comparison is 32, so he's much more solid. So yeah, I think for me, Katoa is still the guy who I feel like I'd go for, but really, really tough decision. Play Billy Smith or Taruva. I mean, Taruva would be marking up against Warbrick, who sometimes is a bit suspect in defense. Billy Smith up against Manly away is tough, but Manly, I view Manly as being able to concede more points than, say, Melbourne would. I'd say they've got equal floor. I'm going to quickly check NRL SuperCoach Stats team points allowed because the website is fantastic. Team points by round. Sorry, wrong screen. Sorry, bear with me for a second. Just because it's a tough one, so I'm just trying to see who actually, on the numbers basis, has conceded more SuperCoach points on average. So like Penrith are clear for points scored, more than Melbourne. More than the Roosters, I should say, but by far. In terms of the defense, Melbourne are conceding on average 764, Manly 813. You know what? I think I'd play Taruva over Billy Smith. I think I would just trust that Panthers attack more than the Roosters attack, in my opinion. I think their flaws are pretty similar as well. Yeah, I think I would play Taruva. Why not Billy Smith and Mulatalo? Just funds. I just can't afford it. If I could afford Billy Smith out instead of Taruva, I would have done that for Mulatalo. I mean, I could go Billy Smith instead of going Taruva to Mulatalo. I could have gone Billy Smith to Katoa, but I do think that Mulatalo is just a better option. So I've just decided to have to. Okay. Can you all hear me okay? So sorry about that. The internet dropped out randomly, so I had to change to a different Wi-Fi. It's a bit random in my house. Sometimes this is odd. Sometimes if the microwave turns on in the kitchen, the internet drops out. It's actually remarkable how it happens. So sorry about that. I think I know what happened. So I've got two different like Wi-Fi networks I can connect to. I think I was connected to the weaker one, so I think that one dropped out. But I've gone back to the better one, and I think that's working now. It's back up. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. We'll push on. We've got half an hour, so hopefully we don't drop any frames for the next half hour or not. If it does, I know the Insight Fantasy Sports guys are also doing a stream as well. So hopefully we hold up. If it doesn't, then we'll look. You've got someone else doing a countdown stream as well. But yeah, hopefully we get some viewers back as well. I think there was a lot of viewers who dropped out too. But fair enough. Stop hacking them on. Thank you, God. All right, let's get your questions back in. Let's keep rolling through them. Hey man, I only got Gaga last week and was hoping to keep for the run home, but missing the next 2 weeks. Is it worth trading him to Ronaldo this week? Yes, I this one is a tough one because I think if you own Gagai, yeah, he's probably going to be a good pod for the run home, but I do like getting in like a Mulatalo this week. So to be honest, I would probably, if it was me, I'd probably make that switch just to try to get the next 2 games out of Mulatalo. And I guess you could always try to get Gagai back. Hopefully you don't have, you've saved some trades and you can maybe, maneuver your trades a little bit like that. But yeah, no, I think I do like Mulatalo a lot this week. I think he's not a must, but yeah, I'll be very close to trying to get him. What would I do with Cody Nikorima? So yeah, is it confirmed that Nikorima is on the bench this week? Because I saw Isaiah Katoa has been named at 5'8", Sean O'Sullivan at halfback. Let's have a quick look see here, because there was also another report that Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow was training at centre and Cody at fullback. So I think what my suggestion would be is that if you ideally can wait and maneuver your trades to wait until you get that confirmed final team list, I'd probably do it because Nick Grima, he's at 587k, he does have a break even of 74. If you do find out he's benched, I guess, look, even if he's benched, I think you could still maybe keep him for 1 week and get him for that round 19 game against the Titans. And if it is true that he is actually playing at fullback, then I think he's probably someone that you can keep. So I think either way, depending on what the situation is, I'd probably still maybe try to get him for that round 19 game. Because remember, in round 19, Hamiso will be out of the team, so you know that Nikorima is going to start, and he'll be playing against the Titans, so it's a good matchup. Then it's in round 20 is Penrith, and then the bye in round 21. So maybe at that point in round 20, when you're versing Penrith, you look to trade him out at that point. So for those of us with deal bags, should we hold or flip to Munster? I mean, it's a bit confusing what's happening with deal bag. So he pleaded guilty to 2 counts. So I mean, he's pleaded guilty, but I saw that the NRL had done something with his no-fault stand-down policy, but I still think Parramatta Eels can do something to override the top of it. Let me quickly try find the article that I saw, which basically had outlined all of this, but let's see. So I think due to the NRL's rules, he's technically able to play for the Eels under the NRL rules, but I think it'd be pretty doubtful that the Eels would play him with him just, like, I think for their own look, I don't think Dillbags would play. I'd be shocked if Dillbags plays again this season, in my opinion. So I still think if you've held him all this time, I'd still probably sell, because the thing is, like, so that he can still technically play under NRL rules, but Eels have their own discretion as to what they want to do with him. I'd be surprised if they play him, because, like, look, they've been winning without him. They're doing just fine. I think just reputationally, would the Eels want to have one of their players who's been pleaded guilty to this on the field? I don't think so. So I think for me, Dillbags, I don't think will be playing. So I still think if you have Dillbags, I think it's still fine to move on. Thoughts on Tautamoga for the Dragons? I know he's got a big negative break even, but he's like 494k. Is that a really, really awkward price? I don't think I'd go there. Even as a quick money grab, go someone like Richie Kenner instead. Maybe go like a Valens potentially. At 493k, I don't think I'd be going to Moga. Like, I know he scored 98 and 111, but I think that was back when the Dragons were playing a lot better. Right now, I don't think so. I wouldn't be going Moga, in my opinion. Thoughts on Horsburgh as a buy for this round? No, I wouldn't be buying Horsburgh this round. I'm pretty confident that he'll play Origin. Well, I think there's a good chance that he'll play Origin next week, especially with this injury to Tom Flegler. I think Horsburgh is probably the next man up in the middle there. So no, I don't think Horsburgh will be available in round 19. I think after Origin, he's been really, really good. So I think he's probably fine to get post Origin, but probably not at this point. James, thank you for the donation, very kind. Pick 2, Nico Kluxard, Ponga, and Sione Katoa. I already have Mulatalo. I mean, look, if you can afford them, I'd go Ponga and Nico Kluxard in my opinion. I think Ponga's in. I'm confident with Ponga on the run home. I think the Knights have got a pretty decent draw for the run home. They've got some good matchups, and Nico Kluxard I think has been amazing as well. Yes, Sharks have a good run. Sione Katoa though does have that really low game in him. If you could afford it comfortably and it helped, and you can still do your future trades in terms of bringing back in any Origin guns, yes, I would probably go Nico Kluxard and Ponga. Would I rather keep Manu or Meany? That's tough because I think Meany's kind of gone off the boil, but he's not like a must sell either. To be honest, I think I'd probably still rather keep Manu, as crazy as it sounds, because I mean, he's probably going to be playing at centre, which isn't fantastic, but he scored a double last week. Can the Roosters click on the run? No, actually, you know what? I think I'd still rather keep Meany, just because I think he's goal kicking. I think he's been more consistent over the entire season. Aman, I gave you an ad. Sorry, I thought I turned off midstream ads for this one. I normally don't have midstream ads on because it's obviously very annoying for you guys. Beforehand, I think that maybe. Sorry about that. Would you trade Kepi or Schuster to Piakura? I mean, Kepi's pretty much not playing as well, right? So I think if at all you can improve your depth and not have to go sell the guy who is playing, I'd probably say sell Kepi if you can, Alex. How tall am I? Not enough. Put it that way, Brad. Not tall enough. With Hammer at centre, does Valance move to the bench? Well, that's the thing. We just don't know, Blake, about what's going to happen with the team list. If I assume that because Hammer was training at left centre, which is where Ewan Aiken was playing. So maybe Ewan Aiken moves to the right. It's really unclear. So I'm not too sure. Sorry. Jason, sorry, I think I answered your question, Jason, but I might have been lagging at that time, so I'll redo it. Yeah, and you were asking about Buller and Schuster to Drinkwater and Howarth. I'm not a fan really of selling Buller because I think the draw is still fairly good for the Tigers, and I sold him last week, but that was to try to get ahead of the curve and bring in. Who did I bring in last week? I can't even remember. Well, look, he has the Cowboys this week, which is kind of tough. Sharks at home at CommBank could be a bit difficult, but look, Newcastle and Dragons in round 2021. I think in round 20, it's going to be a tough round. And look, Drinkwater obviously will probably play that week. But I think if you've got Buller, I would just still keep him for that round 19 cover. And look, round 21, he's got the Dragons. I think if you own Buller, or you still own him, I'd be holding him now, I think, through till round 21. Because he's got a good floor. He can still get 50 even if the Tigers don't do anything. Aman, I need your help. Please help me pick out of these two 1v1 options. Tohu or Tarpany, and then in the next 1v1, do I pick Meany or AJ? Is this for trades in? Gazraki, can you just confirm, is that trade-ins or to play? If you can just let me know in the chat, then I can let you know. But if it's to play, I'd play Tarpany because I think without Josh Papali'i, I think Tarpany's ceiling, or just I think his floor is higher. And if it's Meany or AJ, Meany's a goal kicker, but it's Penrith. Penrith are just so good in defense. I'd chance it with AJ. But I don't love playing either of the two, to be honest, because Penrith game is tough. He's a goal kicker, but can Melbourne... I mean, Penrith's defense is just elite. I still think I'd chance it on AJ, but yeah, I don't love either. DWZ or Holmes? I think if you're trying to buy new, I'd prefer Val Holmes. I think DWZ has been fantastic, but Holmes I just view overall more as the guy with the Supercoach pedigree, the goal kicker for and now improving Cowboys. I think Holmes would be the guy I'd prefer over DWZ. Worth trading Nico Kluxard for Fafita? No, I think Nico Kluxard is a season keeper. Yeah, at this rate, I think he's a season keeper. A really good role at the back end of the season. Thoughts on Brooks going to Manly? It's good for Brooks to get out of the Tigers, and he'll be able to play a season or two under Cherry Evans. But yeah, it's good for Brooks, I think, to get out of the West Tigers. For Manly, I'm not sure because I think they let go one of their promising one of their promising players or talents, I think. And so I think there's some controversy about that or whatnot. But yeah, it's good for Brooks at least. Trade Teddy or AJ this week. Probably Teddy. I'm not too keen on Teddy, to be perfectly honest. I know a few people have been asking about Teddy to Mulatalo. It sounds weird trading out an active guy, especially someone like Teddy, but I mean, Sam Walker could be nearing a return. Does that help the Roosters? Potentially. But Teddy does have a high break even. So does AJ, to be fair. But AJ at least plays next week. So I think if you're a head-to-head guy, I'd probably say sell AJ. Because he has got a few buys in the run home. I think if you're an overall guy, I'd probably sell Teddy, if that makes sense. Take a chance on Tupou or Suoli'i, hoping the Roosters click. I think they're decent buys if you do think that the Roosters will kind of start clicking again. I like them at their price tags. Like Suoli'i is like sub 400k. I think Tupou is like low 400ks, but I think if you're going around that 450-ish for Tupou, I, to be honest, would prefer just going for someone like a Raymond or Katoa instead. Let's see some more questions. Also, apologies for that. I do apologize for that lag earlier. I know it's frustrating when lag happens and you're watching a stream and whatnot because especially if you're asking questions and stuff. So yeah, apologies for that. But if you're enjoying it now and it's all smooth, give the stream a like as well. Helps me out. Worth trading Teddy to CNK. Ooh. Teddy to CNK. Part of me thinks I wouldn't because it feels like you're chasing points with CNK, but CNK is shown, and the CNK and the Warriors are showing way more than the Roosters are, and their run home is ridiculous. Like, I'll quickly read it out for you for the Warriors, just so you guys actually have context. It's what I keep saying. So next couple of weeks are a little bit tricky. You know, you've got Rabbitohs, Parramatta, and the Sharks, and then the Raiders. But Wilfred did a good job of this, so breaking it down. But you've got Rabbitohs at home off a 5-day turnaround. Round 19, Parramatta without their Origin players. Round 20, Sharks at home. That's fine. Canberra round 21 at home. Then the bye in round 22. Then you've got the Titans away, West Tigers away, Manly at home, Dragons at home, Dolphins away. Like, that run is just fantastic. So if I had to pick who would score more points for the rest of the season, I'd probably say it's Nickel Hookside, not Tedesco. So you know what? I don't know. I hopefully I don't come across as too like anti-Roosters. Like, I'm a Roosters fan, so I'm obviously a bit biased in probably the negative way. But like Teddy's run home is not bad, but I don't know. We always want to see. Well, we always think the Roosters will improve, but is this the year that doesn't happen in the run home? So yeah, to be honest, Stefanos, I'd be for that move. Who would I play out of Hughes, To'o, Ponga, or Hughes? Okay, Alexander, sorry, you've listed Hughes twice. I'm going to assume Hughes, To'o, and Ponga. You have to play Ponga this week, in my opinion. I mean, this matchup against the Bulldogs, I think he'll do very well. So yeah, no, I think Ponga has to be the play there out of those three. Is Munster okay to buy with a Gutho-Walsh combo via Ponga? Yeah, look, with Reece Walsh, I haven't really answered any questions about him, but I do, again, I'll reference my article that I wrote a little bit, or newsletter, whatever you call it. I do think Reece Walsh is a sell. He'll only play a maximum of 6 games for the rest of the season. You've got all these guys like Nickel Cookside who'll play 9. You've got Kennedy who'll play 10. Buller will play all 10. If you via duels, you go to a Mulatalo who plays all 10. If you're going for a Munster, depends on how Munster... my feeling is that Munster would back up in round 20, especially because he already had a rest in round 17 after Origin Game 2. So I think Walsh to Munster would get you more points for the rest of the season. Like, think about it this way: even if Munster plays 8 games, Walsh plays 6. Like, the difference in how much Walsh would need to average for that trade to not pay off is huge. So yeah, I still think that particular trade is fine. And if I'm assuming you're trading out Walsh for Munster, I don't think that's a bad move. Can Dragons beat the Sharks? Look, 100% they could beat the Sharks, but I don't like. What are the odds that they've got on this? $1.08 for the Sharks. Yeah, that probably sounds about right. Gazaraki, $2. Thank you so much. Thanks for the help. We all start in 24 with Luke Brooks. Potentially could be. Aaron says Captain Ponga, VC Hines. Again, I really do like Ponga. I think if you're going against Hines this week, for me, it's probably Fafita and Ponga. Those are the two that stand out for me as an alternative. So I think if you can stomach that, I'm just saying, if you can stomach not captaining Hines, I like Ponga as a captain this week. I'm very glad to own Ponga this week, but not enough to where I can probably captain him over Hines. And again, with VC Hines, I think just make sure that you're comfortable with your auto emergencies if you do need to loop in the end. Do I see any value in spreading your players across teams? Example, not having too many sharks so that when they have a down game, you don't get super punished. I think there's definitely merit in that, but I think the flip side generally works more, where if you've got all in on a good team that's very good in attack, which the Sharks are, even from a Supercoach standpoint, I think they're like third for the team that scores on average the most Supercoach points per round. So you're buying into a good team. So I don't think there's any issue with lumping in with like 4 or 5. Like, the 3 that I've got, Mulatalo, Nikora, and Hines are probably the most popular 3. So really, if you think about it, I've said this on the Tuesday stream, those 3, you're really not probably gaining a lot out of having those 3 because pretty much everyone around you in the upper echelons of rank is probably also owning them. So you kind of need to add like a Ramian or a Katoa or a Teague Wilton or a Will Kennedy to actually get that extra benefit of having the Sharks do well. So if you think about it in that way, it's a very fantasy Premier League type of thinking with effective ownership. If you have one extra player than the majority, if they have a down game, you're only getting really punished by one player, I guess. So I don't think there's anything too wrong with going all in on a good team. Aman, out of Tarpany and Wilton, who should I trade in? As a trade in, I would probably get, Tarpany they both play round 19. Tarpany's probably more of a keeper in his position than Wilton. I like Wilton though as a bit of a pod. We just spoke about having extra Sharks players. He'll play round 19. He will play round 20 as well. Tarpany won't. So I think, I think if you're okay for round 20, probably say Tarpany. But I don't mind Wilton either. So yeah, I'd probably slightly edge Tarpany. Garrett captain, I don't think I'd do Garrett because while the Roosters have been poor, they're not like super, super leaky in defense. So no, I wouldn't be going Garrick. Drinkwater or Nickel Klukstad? Probably Nickel Klukstad. Nickel Klukstad is 760k and he's 130k cheaper than Drinkwater. It's a bit crazy. Jack Whiten, a trade in for reserve, good run home. Now for me, Whiten is just that classic Supercoach trap in the sense that he's a great real life player, but it just does not translate to Supercoach. Especially if he's in 5'8", I don't think that's a position you want to be taking up spots. Like, he's averaged 51 for the season, and he's 437k, and I think that's for a reason. His top score this season, granted, is 133, and he had a 73. So his top 3 scores this season, 133, 73, 63, and then it's a lot of 50s, 47s, 35, 20. There's some 22 games in there. Nah, not for me. Don't go buy Jack Whiten. Is Gold Coast AJ as a pod? Yeah, so Brimson is definitely a pod. I just don't think you will get him for round 19. I think he will get that number 1 jersey for Queensland. Ponga effectively ruled himself out. I don't see how Billy Slater would select Ponga. So for me, I think Brimson will miss round 19. So just factor that into your thinking. I do think there are better options than him, in my opinion. I think I still prefer Will Kennedy as a bit of a pod. I prefer Drinkwater, Gutherson, even Nickel Klukstad, for example. I understand they're obviously very different in price. So I don't mind AJ Brimson as a pod. His average about 68 in his injury-free games. But I think the fact that Kennedy plays an extra game and is not too much more expensive, I'd probably prefer Kennedy if you're going for a pod, say fullback. We're benching AJ for Piakura. Yes, I am. I'm tipping the Warriors. And they've got a 5-day turnaround, the Rabbitohs. I like Piakura's matchup as well. I think he's got a better chance for attacking stats. Yeah, save Jack Whiten for 2024. Yeah, that's probably what I'd say too. Hosking and Taruva to Nickel Klukstad and Mulatalo. Yeah, I do like those moves, Sean. You must have had some good money in the bank to do that, but no, I like those moves. That's two genuine season keepers that you're trading in, like that. Hi, Mom. Which 2 should I play? Marshall King, Preston, AJ, and Karaz. So I think if you're playing 2 out of those, I probably would play Preston. I think the Newcastle Knights is a good opposition. He has got that attacking ability. So Preston would probably be one of them. The other one would probably be, I don't think I'd play, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't think I'd play AJ. It would be Karaz or Marshall King. I'd probably go Marshall King. I know he's been battling this injury, but I just need to quickly see who's on the bench for the Dolphins. You've got, like, if Nikorima is staying on the bench, Maybe there's a chance that Nikorima spells Marshall King, and Marshall King only plays maybe 55, 60. The Dolphins play... they're the second last game. So I think, to be fair, given that they play the second last game, and your other decision, if I'm ruling out AJ, it's then between Karaz and Marshall King, you probably have that ability to wait. I'd say rule out AJ, play Preston, and wait for the final team list with the Dolphins. If it looks like Nikorima is staying on the bench, and he could eat into Marshall King's minutes, then maybe Karaz, although, I don't know, I just don't think Karaz has been, he's nowhere near back to what he was at the beginning of the season. So, to be honest, I think either way, I'd still play Marshall King, in my opinion. So, Marshall King and Preston. Play Solo or Taruva. Is that Pasami Solo? If it's Pasami Solo, I'd prefer Taruva, in my opinion. I think just chase the guy who's got that attacking upside. AFB and Johnson or Ronaldo and Schuster? I'd have to say, to be honest, AFB and Johnston, because I think Schuster is what killed that combination with Mulatalo. First live I've made. Channel's awesome. Keep up the awesome work, brother. Thank you, Josh. I'm glad to see that you came in when it wasn't lagging, because we were lagging before and it's quite bad. Will Whiten get 5'8" center wing duel? No idea. I assume he'll only get center wing next season, because he wouldn't be playing 5'8" with Cody there. Ponga's pals. Walsh and Hosking out for Piakura and Ronaldo. Only 10 trades left afterwards, though. Yeah, the trade situation is a bit skinny, but I do think Walsh is a sell, and I do think Hosking is a sell. And I think you're getting in a season keeper and a good downgrade option, who could also just be a nice depth option for the rest of the season. I still think I'd do those moves, Ponga's pals, but yeah, just be careful with those trades. But I still think I still think those moves are decent. Who would I sell for Piakura, Schuster or Hosking? I'd actually sell Hosking before Schuster. I think Schuster, at least is guaranteed to play 80 minutes each week. Hosking is in and out of the team and everything like that. So I think I'd still keep Schuster over Hosking. Would I buy Richie Kennar still? So there's been some rumours that I've seen from the Guru, Rugby League Guru, about, I think it's Ty Munro. There's some whispers that he'll get a debut this week. Now, it sounds like there's another thing. So I think... So Isaiah Tass has already been ruled out. Apparently his partner was in labour or had a child or something. So Tane Milne has already come in at centre. So there's some rumours that Ty Munro still will make a debut. If he does, he's a winger. So it'd either be for AJ or Kennar. I can't see how AJ gets dropped, so it'd probably be for Richie Kennar. So I think just if you are looking at potentially going Kennar as a downgrade this week, if you can avoid it, just wait until the team list tomorrow. They do fortunately play the second game of the round, so you should hopefully be able to still make your other moves. But yeah, Kennar still feels like a bit of a risk. My wife called me a weirdo for saying, "What will you do?" Out loud. I have mine on the lounge TV. Well, hello to your wife, Mudcrab, if she's also watching me right now. Would I rather play Kennar or AJ? I think I'd still take AJ, in my opinion. Just left side for Rabbitohs. I still just think over the years has always been the better side to target. Did I play footy when I was younger? Only in high school. We're not talking in proper teams. We're talking lunchtime. I was a good lunchtime footy player, put it that way. But yes, I always played on the wing because sometimes I had some speed about me, but not that much. But yes, if it was soccer, if it was rugby, I always played on the wing. I just preferred running. I wasn't the most technical. I like to run though. So yeah, sneaky winger in the lunchtime footy games. I'm not big enough to be playing any kind of actual club rugby. Tell me why the Dragons have made Lomax fullback. It's a good point because he came through as a fullback, didn't he? But I don't know. Who knows? How could I choose or predict what the Dragons are doing? Mudcrab, yep, hit that like button. Appreciate the support. Gray might be out sternum. Okay, so I haven't seen that news. Okay, if that's the case, then yeah, look, that could actually be the reason why. Sorry. This is hilarious. Aman rizzing through the stream. Hide your eyes. Not at all. This is a purely friendly hello to Mudcrab's wife through the TV. No rizzing going on at all. No rizzing at all. No rizzing. I hope my girlfriend's not watching, put it that way, because there's no rizzing going on here. Is Asako a must-have from round 21? Oh, must-have is questionable, but I think he's a very good option for round 21 onwards because the Dolphins draw does open up after that. New haircut, yeah, you know it, Fisher. Am I play cricket? Yeah, I played lots of cricket. I played lots of cricket in high school and primary school, and I still occasionally go down to the nets as well. Yeah, cricket for sure. I've definitely got the body type to play cricket, not rugby. Put it that way. I'm a very skinny guy, so yeah, for me cricket's fine. Rugby, no. Totola, Carraz, or Croker, fourth reserve. To be honest, I'd actually go Croker because he's actually put in some decent scores the last few weeks, and he's goal kicking. Home game against the Titans, probably Croker in my opinion. We're on 5 minutes, okay, so just make sure obviously you guys lock in your trades and whatnot, and if you are going to captain Nico Hines as well, do lock that in too. Campbell Graham an option. The only issue, Ian, with Campbell Graham is that I just think, I mean, it sounds like potentially he's got the sternum issue, but if he doesn't, look, I think he'll be getting a call up for game 3 for New South Wales, so I think he'll miss round 19. Like no Latrell, no Turbo for Origin, so Crichton and Campbell Graham seem like the obvious centres for New South Wales, and then he has the buy round 20. So I think if you don't already own him, I don't think I'd encourage buying Campbell Graham. Love the streams of mine. Thank you, Caden. Dude, you can have a... Oh, Mudcrab, you're killing me. Nah, you're joking here. She said, no joke, he has nice hair. No, I'm not believing that. You're just winding me up here. Aman, can we get reviews, the Ashes test? 5-0, 4-0. I mean, so I was really tired yesterday, so I barely watched. The only thing I saw yesterday of the cricket was Khawaja getting out, but I saw the score this morning, and I thought, wow, England had a mare of a day here. And I assume someone scored a ton, but it was just a bunch of guys chipping in with 70s and 80s. But I heard Cameron Green got out in a very bad way, so I haven't seen any of the highlights yet of the day 1 Ashes, probably after the Sharks game. Hi, man, would you trade in Piakura or Swali? Piakura, I think. You're getting a bit more money out of that downgrade. Rumour has it you've got a mean googly. Well, I did first play as a leggy. So I was a leggy. Shout out to the, not shout out, obviously, but condolences, but I guess is probably the right word. But yeah, Shane Warne was my absolute favourite spinner watching when I was growing up, and I loved. So I tried to be a leggy, but it was very difficult. So I think I converted to an off spinner. It was just easier to be an off spinner. The ball I always tried to do, but I could never do it, was a flipper. A flipper was just so bloody hard to do, but my God, it looked sick when it came off. But it was probably about once or twice in a year where I could actually land a flipper where I meant it. Otherwise, it was just looping up because you try to, the trick is to click your fingers. That's how you get the flipper. So you go like this and click your fingers and it comes out faster. But most of the time I'd click it and it goes somewhere else. It wouldn't even make the pitch. Anyway, 3.5 minutes. Hopefully no more. No way, I was a leggy, mate. I think a lot of us who probably grew up watching Shane Warne probably all decided to be leggies after that. Hi man, I went Walsh to Fanul Blake on duels. I don't think that's a bad trade. I do think Fanul Blake is just, he's been killing it. And I do think he's a nice antipod to someone like a Payne Haas or a Tino. Bazwell not going so well for them against the Aussies. To be honest, I'm pretty neutral when it comes to watching the Ashes. So like, look, I'm in a very proud Indian family. So when it comes to cricket, if India's playing, I have to go for India. And so, to be honest, like and then when it comes to Australia versus England, I don't really feel either for the two teams, which is nice, to be honest, because it just means I can kind of watch the cricket from a very neutral standpoint. Australia sometimes, I mean, maybe not this current squad, but back in the day, had a few Pelicans in my opinion. So I was like, not my favourite team. But then look, England sometimes the same as well. So I kind of just watched them both. I'm like, hopefully I just watch some good cricket. I do like Pat Cummins though. I like Pat Cummins. Thoughts on Carraz? Thought he'd be good, but hasn't hit the heights. Yeah, I don't know if he's still battling some kind of his injury or something, but I think it also probably is due to a bit of a slump in form for the Bulldogs. Like they're just not playing very well either. So I think that's probably what is hurting Carraz. But yeah, no, I don't think Carraz at all looks like a trade-in for me still. Appreciate the stream. Thank you so much. We've got 2 minutes left, so see if there's any more questions we can tackle. What's my future plans for Harrison Edwards? Yeah, look, I am a little bit concerned as well that he will start leaking some cash. But he was coming off the bench a couple of times and still putting up some decent scores. With him, I'm just thinking I'll hold him at least through round 19, get that number, and then after that I'll reassess. But he could be someone who I either downgrade or I maybe just keep as some depth and just live with it, I guess. Mine got that Pat Cummins here. Thoughts on VC Hines, Captain Marzu? I probably didn't mention it before, but I don't want to keep saying the same thing about the whole VC Hines situation. But if you're okay to go against Hines, I also do like Marzu as a captain shout this week for sure. He's got that really good floor, plus Bulldogs game. I think there's a very good chance he scores 1 try, and he's going for like 80 plus. I would love to make you my authentic homemade butter chicken one day. Thank you, Mitchell. I would make any offer for a butter chicken. I can't refuse that. Surely not. I think I'm having some chicken curry for dinner tonight as well. Very happy about that. Very happy. Get the C on that shines, Hines, or else hindsight will hurt you. Yep. Mud Crab's doing the poems for me nowadays. Warbrick or Taruva last reserve? I'd go Taruva. I think Melbourne's defence is not as good as Penrith's. Alright, I think we've got about 40 seconds left. I think we may as well wrap it up there. I'm probably not going to be able to answer any questions to add much value. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for persisting as well through the kind of internet drop as well. Do give the stream a like if you enjoyed it on the way out. Thank you to those who also donated. Very, very kind. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully a very eventful game today. I'll be happy if Hines gets 180 again today after not having it last time versus the Dragons. So yeah, hopefully big scores this weekend. Good luck for the rest of the weekend and have a great just weekend in general, and I'll hopefully catch you all on Sunday for the wrap-up stream. See ya.